The lights inside Ford Field suddenly went dark. The crowd froze for 1 second, and then Detroit exploded as Bruno Mars delivered a moment nobody inside the stadium will forget. What was already expected to be one of the biggest concerts of 2026 instantly transformed into something much larger on night one of the Romantic Tour in Detroit. Fans arrived expecting a polished stadium performance from one of pop music's most consistent entertainers. Instead, they witnessed a show packed with raw emotion, surprise energy, and a single unforgettable sequence that has continued dominating social media conversations long after the final song ended. More than 60,000 fans filled Ford Field on Friday night, creating one of the loudest atmospheres of Bruno Mars' current tour run. Hours before the singer even stepped onto the stage, videos from downtown Detroit already showed crowds gathering outside the stadium chanting lyrics from 24K Magic and Locked Out of Heaven. The anticipation felt unusually intense, even by stadium tour standards. By the time the opening acts finished their sets, the energy inside Ford Field had reached a boiling point. Then came the moment fans now describe as the switch. The massive LED screens faded to black. A cinematic intro rolled across the stadium. The visuals mixed old-school Vegas glamour with grainy romantic film aesthetics, matching the visual identity of the Romantic Tour. Suddenly, a spotlight cut through the darkness, revealing Bruno Mars standing completely still at the center of the stage in a sparkling burgundy jacket, while thousands screamed before he even sang a single word. The opening sequence immediately established the tone for the night. Bruno Mars launched into a dramatic live version of Risk It All, followed by On My Soul, showcasing a more emotional and theatrical side of the performer that longtime fans had only seen in glimpses during previous tour. But according to many fans leaving the stadium, the true turning point came nearly halfway through the show. After a high-energy run of funk-heavy performances, the music abruptly stopped. The band paused. The lights dimmed again. Bruno Mars slowly walked toward the front edge of the stage while the stadium remained nearly silent for the first time all night. Then he began speaking directly to the audience. "Detroit always gives me something different," he told the crowd. "But tonight, y'all making this feel personal." The reaction was immediate. Thousands of fans screamed so loudly that Bruno himself appeared momentarily stunned. Videos captured from multiple sections inside Ford Field quickly spread online overnight, with fans calling the interaction one of the most genuine moments of the entire tour. Music critic Dana Feldman, who attended the concert for a Detroit entertainment publication, described the moment as a rare pause in a modern stadium show where the performance suddenly felt intimate despite the massive scale. "You could feel the entire building lock into the same emotional wavelength," Feldman said after the concert. "That doesn't happen often in shows this large." What happened next became the emotional centerpiece of night one. Instead of transitioning into another upbeat hit, Bruno Mars sat down at the piano alone under a single spotlight. No dancers, no pyro, no visual overload, just silence and anticipation. Then the opening notes of When I Was Your Man echoed through Ford Field. Fans instantly began singing along, but midway through the first chorus, Bruno stopped singing and let the audience carry the song entirely on their own. For nearly 30 seconds, tens of thousands of voices filled the stadium while Bruno simply listened, smiling and shaking his head in disbelief. It was not part of the official production script shown during previous tour stops. Several fan-shot videos appeared to show members of Bruno's band reacting with surprise, as the crowd continued singing louder than expected. The unscripted nature of the moment became one of the biggest reasons clips from Detroit started going viral online within hours. Concert producer Malik Thompson later described the sequence as one of those rare live moments you cannot rehearse. "You can build lighting cues, sound design, choreography, all of that," Thompson explained in a backstage interview. "But you cannot manufacture a crowd taking over a stadium like that. That was real." The emotional piano performance created a dramatic contrast with the explosive energy that dominated the rest of the night. Earlier in the concert, Bruno Mars had transformed Ford Field into a non-stop dance party with songs like Treasure, Finesse, and 24K Magic. The crowd barely remained seated during those sections, especially as the live brass band amplified every transition with almost Super Bowl-level intensity. The production itself reflected the larger ambitions of the Romantic Tour. Massive moving screens, rotating stage platforms, synchronized lasers, and retro-inspired visuals gave the concert a cinematic quality that separated it from a standard pop performance. Yet despite the enormous scale, many fans leaving the venue kept talking about the quieter moments rather than the spectacle. That balance may explain why Bruno Mars continues standing apart in an era dominated by viral trends and short attention spans. Rather than relying solely on visual shock value, the Detroit show emphasized musicianship and crowd connection. Throughout the night, Bruno frequently interacted with fans between songs, joking with audience members near the front rows and repeatedly praising Detroit's energy. At one point, he even laughed after the crowd interrupted him with chants before he could introduce the next song. "I'm trying to talk," he joked while grinning at the audience. That looseness gave the show an unusually human feel for a performance happening inside an NFL stadium. Longtime touring keyboardist John Fawcett later praised Bruno Mars' ability to adjust emotionally in real time during live shows. Some artists stick rigidly to the structure every night, Fawcett explained. Bruno listens to the room. If the crowd pushes the energy higher, he follows it. If they get emotional, he slows down and lets the moment breathe. That instinct appeared repeatedly throughout Night 1 in Detroit. Another major highlight arrived during the Silk Sonic segment of the concert. When Anderson, Paak joined Bruno Mars on stage, the mood inside Ford Field instantly shifted from emotional reflection back into full celebration mode. The pair performed Fly As Me and Smockin' Out the Window with infectious chemistry that reminded fans why their collaboration became such a massive success. Videos from inside the stadium showed entire sections dancing simultaneously, while Bruno and Anderson exchanged playful improvisations between verses. Entertainment reporter Kelly Ramirez described the crowd reaction as pure chaos in the best possible way. It honestly felt less like people watching a concert and more like a citywide party happening under one roof, Ramirez said. Yet even after the funk-heavy section ended, fans online continued returning to the quieter piano moment as the defining image of Detroit Night 1. TikTok clips featuring the crowd singing, "When I Was Your Man," generated hundreds of thousands of views overnight. Many comments described the performance as goosebumps, surreal, and the loudest singalong fans had ever experienced at a live concert. Some users even compared the moment to iconic stadium singalongs from legendary artists of previous generations. Industry analysts say moments like these are becoming increasingly valuable in the streaming era, where authentic emotional experiences often travel faster online than perfectly choreographed visuals. Music marketing strategist Alina Brooks believes Bruno Mars understands that dynamic better than most modern performers. People remember authenticity, Brooks explained. A flawless production impresses audiences, but unexpected emotional moments create cultural memory. That's what spreads. Also represented an important stop in the larger narrative surrounding the romantic tour. The tour marks Bruno Mars' return to major stadium touring after years focused on selective performances, residencies, and collaborative projects. Expectations were already enormous before the first Detroit show began. Ford Field itself added another layer of pressure. The venue has hosted some of the largest touring acts in the world, and local fans are known for demanding high-energy performances regardless of genre. By the end of Night 1, many attendees were already calling it one of the strongest stadium concerts the city had seen in recent years. Outside the stadium after the show, fans remained gathered downtown long after midnight, replaying videos and discussing specific moments from the concert. One fan named Marcus Hill described the atmosphere simply. "It felt bigger than a concert," he said. "You could tell Bruno Mars knew something special was happening in that building." That feeling seemed visible on stage as well. During the final section of the concert, Bruno Mars appeared increasingly emotional while thanking the Detroit audience. Before launching into the closing run of songs, he paused once more and looked around the stadium as fans continued screaming his name. "I'm never forgetting this night," he told the crowd. The closing sequence then delivered one final surge of energy. "Locked Out of Heaven" sent the audience jumping in unison before "Just the Way You Are" transformed Ford Field into a sea of phone lights. Finally, Uptown Funk closed the night with confetti explosions, synchronized fireworks effects, and one final eruption from the crowd. Even after the music ended, fans continued singing while exiting the stadium concourses. For many artists, a stadium concert succeeds when the visuals impress audiences. For Bruno Mars in Detroit, success came from something more difficult to achieve: emotional connection on a massive scale. That may be why Night 1 at Ford Field continues dominating fan conversations across social media platforms. It was not just the production, not just the vocals, not just the choreography. It was the feeling that something unrehearsed happened in real time between an artist and tens of thousands of people. In an entertainment era built around polished perfection, that unpredictability made the night feel authentic. And for one unforgettable evening in Detroit, Bruno Mars turned a stadium concert into a shared memory fans may never stop talking about.